So big welcome to Donna Shepherd from Words by Red Kite. Donna, tell us a little bit about who you are and what has brought you to the world of business today.
Good afternoon. I am now a writer. I was a police officer and got injured many moons ago, and decided that it's time for a bit of a change. So I followed the normal path, I think, for what police officers do, and I became a driving instructor, followed by a brief time at university when I disappeared off and did a degree and a master's in English with a view to writing. With a view to teaching. However, I don't like other people's children, so that's
How honest.
After spending time with some interesting 15-16-year-olds at high school over the course of about 6 months, I just couldn't cope with the lack of boundaries and the zero consequences. And that was just a brief time there. So I took a deep breath and said to my husband, I'm going to be a writer, and he just laughed at me because that's what he did. And then he said, oh, you're serious? So we sat down together and sort of devised a way of how I was going to become a copywriter. And obviously I met you, and suddenly I was springboarded into this world.
And how's it going so far?
I'm about to step into my third year, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I'm a mum of one. I say one, she's 21 now, but she has limiting special needs. So she is Dion. She's anxious and she's autistic, and she struggles with a few sort of everyday things. But so that has its moments. But yeah, life is pretty good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Oh, excellent! It's so good to hear that you third year in. Because I remember when we first met, you were employed, weren't you? And we sat down and had this conversation about what would your ideal life look like. Just share some of the things that you said, like were in your bigger vision for what Donna's life would look like.
I wanted to go to India. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be financially independent, and I think as a mid-40s woman, I'd fallen into the category of husband's got the money, and we sort of ran that sort of life, and I didn't have my own autonomy, and I felt that I'd got my hands tied a lot of the time. And so I wanted to take steps to empower myself, to give myself some more options, if you like. And I think that was your sort of real moment for me, was when you said to me, you need this, you need this, you need this. And some people give you advice, but you were very insistent in your tone, and I just thought to myself, this is a piece of advice that I am going to listen to, because she's absolutely on it. And you were. And the financial stuff with going to Starling Bank and being responsible and accountable for my own spending and my own sort of invoices and such like was really, really helpful.
Yeah, no, and I think it's one of the elements that a lot of women miss, especially when we've had partners and maybe come away from those partnerships. And I think I was able to share that sort of information with you because I've been through the path of, having been in a marriage and then divorced. And, because the finances are split, you're not really in control of your own things. So everything's shared. So it was really important for me to gain back some of that control, because I had children to look after, I had home to run, I had work to go to. And of course, if you're reliant on maintenance money or anything like that, then you are really stuck between a rock and a hard place. So for me, I absolutely insist on having a pot of money, or at least revenue coming in, to support yourself and your children, because you are in support, you're in control of your own destiny. You can't wait to be, you can't rely on other people to manage that for you. You absolutely have that control. So good on you for taking that advice and running it and setting up your own business.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Why set up another business and not go back into employment?
When I met you, I was working for a school management system company, and he was a lovely bloke, but he had very little idea how to run a company, and there was no money and there was no budget. And I just felt that I had my options limited, because I had all these ideas to grow the business, but without that sort of capital, there was no way of moving forward. And so when I was made redundant, I just thought, I'm not doing this again. You know, I medically retired from the police force. And I just thought, I don't want to be employed by somebody again. I don't want somebody else to have that authority over me. I'd done some writing with Loughborough University when I was at uni, and short stories. We put out a few self-published anthologies and things. And I just thought, I can do this. I can write posts and blogs and articles. And I think that taking that step then, and then having that first month when somebody paid me, you know, and I was just like, oh, I've actually created that and they paid me for it, and I just used my fingers. So that was a real moment of stepping forward and creating a business for myself. And so many businesses failed that first year. Bearing in mind, I started this as we went into lockdown. So April the 6th, I actually launched Red Kite, literally. And I just thought, I can do this. So that first year, I relied on contacts through networking. And then slowly LinkedIn has sort of grown, and I've been able to pull clients in from LinkedIn as well.
Excellent, excellent. So tell me about some of the fears, apprehensions, excitement around setting up your own business.
Oh, well, first and foremost, I'm lucky in the fact that I'm lucky in one way that I've got a police pension, but I'm unlucky in the way that I'm limited with my mobility sometimes. So this is great. I've got a nice little chair and I've got my up and down desk and I'm set up and I've got myself ready. But the fear was that I'm not a can't person, but I have this thing that you can't do this. You're not going to be good enough. You know, the whole confidence issue and imposter syndrome. Oh my, that was a massive issue. And I remember talking to you about that a couple of times, was I'm just not good enough. I can't do this. And suddenly that word that I had spent 20 years with my daughter saying, there's no such word as can't. I was telling myself that story. And then I've had people come into my life who've helped me change the story that I've been telling myself. I can do it, and I am doing it. And yeah, so I think the major fear was that I couldn't do it. I wasn't good enough. You know, you look at some of these other amazing copywriters and writers on LinkedIn and anywhere else, and they're so full of what they're doing and how they're doing. And I haven't inhabited that space yet. But inside me is growing this confidence of, yes, I am good enough, and yes, I can be here, and yes, I do deserve this platform. So it's taking time. It's still an ongoing process. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. And I think, and it's really good that you recognise, you know, imposter syndrome and that feeling of not feeling good enough has played a part, because at least then, if you know what it is that's holding you back, you can make moves to actually do something about overcoming those challenges. So do you know where that fear or that imposter syndrome, where it's rooted? Do you know where it's come from?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all have elements. I think as a mom, when you become a mom, the focus is taken off you to a huge extent. You know, my mum and dad, suddenly it was move out of the way and pass me the grandchild. And I'm not criticising that, but it was a wake-up call, because, you know, I'd always been the daughter and the centre of that. And I think when I went to university and people started to ask me, what do you think? And, you know, what's your take on this? And that was the first leap into my confidence again, and bringing me back to life as such. But I think that when I left the police force, that really did shake my tree. I was going to be a police officer until I retired, which would have been in a couple of years. I was going to be a traffic cop. I was going to be a dog handler, and I got the dog handler paperwork, and that's what made it hurt. It hurt a lot. And I think that when you are then taken away from the thing that you did, I was never going to be the world's most amazing police officer, but I played my part. I was good on the team. I had a brilliant shift. And I think stepping into Civiland, bearing in mind I've been a police cadet from 16, stepping into Civiland was a shock, because you kind of go, what's everyone else doing? And then that's when I then thought, oh, you know, your friends are doing, they've been to uni and they've done this, and your other friends are. I delivered pizzas for a bit, you know. You kind of have to kind of start again. And I think now that I am a writer, and I'm filling that professional writing space, I still have to go, you're a professional writer. you can do it. I still have to say that to myself, and I say it quite regularly. Normally when I'm doing some yoga, it's one of my my little moments of, you know, I can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, when we have, like myself, you know, I was a police officer, I served 22 years, as you know, and, you know, we're so busy, you know, because I navigated parenting and being a partner and then being this person in society and then being an employee. And you wear all these hats, don't you, as a woman, when you go into these roles. So, of course, you know your place as a mother, you know your place as a wife or a partner, you know your place as an employee, you know, a police officer. But what does Donna, what does Dion look like? You know, what do we stand for? And I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? Because when I stepped out of the police force, you know, I was like fresh and shiny because all of a sudden I had no restrictions on me. I wasn't told like where I could live, you know, because obviously, as you know, you had to apply for permission to even live somewhere. To The area was right. You know, you haven't got to ask for permission to go to the loo. You haven't got to ask permission to take time off to spend time with your family. You're just totally autonomous. And so everything for me was shiny, shiny, new, and saying yes to all of these opportunities. But yeah, it's quite an eye-opener to actually figure out who Dion is or who Donna is and our place in the world as human beings and individuals rather than the roles that we play within society. So,
it strips you back. It strips you actually back to basics. And I think just as you're finding it out, you get swapped sideways with the menopause. So
I'm not even going there with that one because
just stepping on the right path. You think, I've got it. And then it's like,
yeah, foggy brain. And crazy moods is all I'm going to say. God, so how will you navigate? Because there are people actually that run businesses to help women who are going through HRT, menopause, and all the rest of it. That is their business. So how are you managing that aspect with, you know, trying to deliver your product or service to your clients?
I have taken a few very deep breaths. I have been for long walks. I have swam. I've got back into exercise. This year, I think was my with my back injury. I do suffer a little bit sometimes with mobility, but saying that, I've always swam and I can walk. So I've upped that. I've been started cycling again. Just trying to get some mental health space.
Yeah.
I know it's a massive buzzword at the minute to actually give yourself some space to breathe and think. And that has really helped me to sort of focusing on what's important. I've also bought, and you can't see it, but I've got an enormous whiteboard here that I've tried iCal, I've tried all the digital calendars. I need something absolutely in my face, slapping me every morning with, this is what you're doing today. Yeah. And I've have a fantastic virtual assistant who's really helped keep me on track as well. But I think navigating it is not easy, and you need to find whatever works for you, whether it's a pen and paper, whether it is a digital calendar, whether it's something, you know, I've on and off journal, and I think that's something that, you know, you and I have spoken about in the past, and I'm a crap journaler. There's no other way of putting it. I have all these ideas, and I'm gonna do it, and then I don't do it. Yeah. So that's something I need to work on.
Okay. So, I mean, you know, and that's good to recognise as well. So what do you feel you need to journal about? And people have different ideas around journaling. And for some, they just need to just offload everything that's bugging them, that's in their head, and they just need to get it out of their head and onto paper, and then it helps them to think more clearly. Others, you know, kind of use it as more of a guidance of where they want to see their life. So it's like future projection, if you like. So where am I now? And then how can I journal to create the life that I desire? So that would take form in maybe affirmations and you know, writing in the present tense for things that they want and expect to happen in the future, which kind of brings the future into the now, and then helps you subconsciously to create the very life that it is that you're writing about that perhaps hasn't happened yet. So, you know, journaling can be used in a couple of different ways, but I think it's really important for organisation of your mind and your thoughts to get something out onto paper, because there is a power behind, you know, pen, putting it to paper and actually writing physically. There's some woo-woo science around the benefits of doing that. So however that appears to you. I think it's a really good idea that you get those ideas out onto paper and use that. And because when you've got a racing mind as well, we have so many things to think about as midlife women, parenting and everything else that we're trying to do, and running a business as well. It's really good to have that organisation of mind. I don't know about you, I've been working in the digital space and using digital apps and all the rest of it for the last probably 6 years now. And some work better than others, but for me, I think it's probably because I'm 48. Pen and paper and a board. Like, I'm old school. And so
I've tried the digital stuff. I need
yeah. And you just got to do what works for you. And as long as you've got organisation, as long as you can work to your goals and objectives and then your overall vision. So what are the goals that you need to achieve for each day? Perhaps you want to do it daily, weekly, monthly, to obtain each objective. So if you want to, like for me, for example, if I want to launch my online program for X, then what are the steps that I need to complete to get me to that point? So, that's really useful for you. If you've got things that you need to, objectives and targets that you need to hit within your business, just, use your whiteboard, use your pen and paper, and just get it written down. So then you just tick it off. Some people, it's just easier. It's not quite a to-do list. It's just an objective list. Write it down and get those done. Doesn't matter how long it's going to take you. If you need it done by the end of the week, whatever it takes. Time doesn't come into it. It's product. It's the actual steps. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you recognised. Pen, paper, board, all of those things. So, obviously you set up your business April 2020, so 1 month into lockdown. What have been the biggest challenges for you, if any?
Well, you're probably going to laugh at that. My first one's my husband. I say he laughed tongue in cheek. I think he thought I was going to write a book. I think he thought that I was going to, I've actually got half a book written, but I haven't mentioned that one. When it's a success and it's on the shelves, then I shall smack him in the face with it. But until then, that was my first hurdle was Darren, because as most people is, money is incredibly important in life, and we're not here to, anyway. So I decided that I had got to sit and talk to him seriously about it, and I didn't want to have a limit set on me. I didn't want to have a time of you've only got till this point and then you've got to go and get a real job, because that was the other thing I faced, was that it's not a real job. So I've had to carve a path and say, no, it is a real job. I'm working for myself, and I have clients now that I write for. These clients pay me every month, and they expect a level of service that is, in their words, want a bit of Donna in it. And I think I offer a unique service in that I am playing with a bit of ADHD. There is a slightly crazy mind going on, but that brings that level to it. And I think that the challenges were not only sending the invoices out, but then getting those invoices paid, and having to ask people for money, and having to decide on what was I going to offer, how much was it going to be for, and those putting your big girl pants on and saying I am worth this. That was enormous in the first year, because I didn't charge anything like what I was capable of charging. And I think that was a big challenge, but that comes back to the imposter syndrome and that I can't do it and I'm not good enough. So once you've stepped over that and gone, actually I've just charged £25 for that blog, and I can charge 4 times that, and I'll pay it because it's good and I'm worth it. That was a revelation. That was a real revelation for me. So that was, I think the biggest challenge was hubby, getting over that. And then the second challenge was really just proving to myself that this was doable. This was something that I could create. And yes, it was gonna work.
You've just been doing some tremendous work. It's the 3rd year in business now. 3rd, 2nd?
It'll be 3rd starting in April.
Yeah, it will be, won't it? Yeah. So
like that.
yeah, it's just like, it's an amazing feat. But a lot of businesses fail within the first year, let alone get to 5 years, you know, so just keep them going. So what are the things that you think you're doing now? So looking at things that you do now, what do you think you can introduce to scale your business? What are the things that perhaps will help you to get to the next level, whatever that level may be?
Yeah, I think, and you'll probably recognise this, when you're a police officer, you pop your uniform on and you might have a holiday booked. You know you've got night shifts, you know you've got day shifts, you know you're working with your mates, but you don't have a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year plan, because that wasn't how we were programmed. You know, not all of us obviously, but me and my peers, we weren't programmed like that. That was what we did. You got your PMS policies and you saved for certain things, but the bigger picture was get to retirement and have as much fun and learn as much as you can in that 30 years.
Yeah.
And I think here I'm suddenly at a point now when I can say to myself, right, in next year I would like to achieve this. And I think that for me, I've been guilty of being a little disorganized, guilty of being a little bit seat in my pants, and definitely guilty of saying yes, and then thinking, oh, I've got to deliver that now, and I've got a stack of stuff that I've already got to do. So this year is going to be about setting some personal targets. Right, what do you want to earn this year? And how are you going to make yourself accountable? Who are you going to work with? I would like to start working with other writers, professional copywriters, who can start to sort of draw their experience. And if I've got a certain client that doesn't need a bit of Donna, maybe they can start to work on that. So there's things really to start to develop the business and to grow the business, and to not take it so not flippantly. But I wasn't sort of fully, this is what it's going to be. Now I am, this is where it's borrowed kite, and this is where I want to go.
No, it's great. And a big part of that is understanding actually who you want to write for, who is your ideal potential client. Is that something that you're still working on, or is that something that you're absolutely clear on now?
I'm definitely working on it. I didn't want a niche, and I think that I initially started to head into the wedding industry and then very quickly reversed back out again. Not to say that I wouldn't write for it. I didn't want to write for it day in, day out. Yeah. And that was a range of clients, from cakes to florists to dresses to, you know, planners to the lot. And that was quickly evident that that was not going to be something that I could do day in, day out. So I did a bit of a reverse, and I like to work for nice people who just trust me. I've worked with a couple of fairly, how should we put this, interesting characters who have had huge expectations and demands, but not prepared to pay for it at all. And also not been particularly pleasant. So it was having the strength, I was going to say something else then, but having the strength to say, I'm really sorry, but this is not going to work. And although it was horrible, because you're thinking, they're going to pay me that much money, I thought it's not worth the personal trauma this is going to cause me. And it would have been evenings and late nights and, delivering what the brief had said for them to go, but we want,
yeah.
So I have quite a strict policy now of I meet the people as much as I can in person. I met a lovely lady last week at a local alpaca farm, and what should have been an hour's meeting turned into 3. Utterly lovely lady. And I know that we'll work really well together. And I think that's the essential. It's that click. It's that understanding. They get my eccentricity, a little bit of, there's an erratic thing going on. They get it. They like it. And they're prepared to just kind of give me a brief and let me work with that. And I think that's worked really well for me.
Excellent. And, it has to be a real win-win situation for both parties. You just described the potential client, or the client that was going to put all these demands on you. And it's, it's setting those boundaries between you and them, and how you work and what they want delivered, and setting those expectations. And actually, before all of that goes into place, is actually understanding who you want to work with in the first place. I've made that mistake and thought, I can help lots of people, and then over time you niche down, and then you look at the industries you can work for and do a really good job for, and then focus in on those, and you can niche down that way. So you say that you want to work with nice people that treat you respectfully and give you the work, but actually, if there's an industry that you really love working within, then there's no reason why you can't look and explore what's deeper within that industry itself. So, if you love working for the wedding industry, but you don't like talking about cakes and bouquets, for example, what do you like talking about, and who do you specifically help with your words? And I think it's just being totally honest and not going into it from a place of I need the money, and more going into it of like how can I actually offer real service to these people that are coming to me for my expertise. And I think if you can get the balance right there, and then have those really good and informative and transparent sales conversations when you're discussing what working together would look like, then you can only do really well, and then actually you get paid really well for the work that you do. You don't have to be taking on work that makes you just feel skanky and horrible and needy, and then you got super demanding people. Yeah, exactly. You know, if you go into it with an air of certainty and with that air of, you know, I know what value I bring to the table, then there's never any need for you to feel all salesy and squidgy and work with people, quite frankly, that you don't want to. So good for you and it does take a bit of trial and error, but you know, if you're willing to put that trial and error time in, then the rest of your journey becomes way easier, and you just have such an amazing time in business. So good for you, and you know, I was just keep on figuring out who your people are and how you can best offer value and service, and the money will follow without a doubt. So then, plans for the future. What are Donna's plans? Next 3 years.
Traveling's got to come on. India's got to be put on hold for a while. I think with the world upside down as we are, that's going to be on hold for a little bit. But there are lots of plans for my daughter this year. I've got a whole 2 weeks in a caravan with her and my mother in the summer planned, which we had the best time last year. I think business-wise, it is just now forging a path for Words by Red Kite and putting me on the map as a reliable, honest, trustworthy woman who will, you know, deliver you a great service, give you a bit of a smile, make you laugh, and just push forward like that. And I think that, you know, we've just moved house, I've got my new office, and I'm feeling like a grown up, which I think is a very nice way to be at 47 years. Like, it's taken me a long time to get here, but I feel a bit more like a grown up. So.
That's brilliant. So a couple of non-businessy questions then, really. What book are you currently reading? Or are you too busy writing one?
No, I'm currently reading. I have 2 on the go. So I'm rereading Pride and Prejudice for about the 93,000th time. Oh, wow. So a massive, if you've heard of Cormoran Strike, he's J.K. Rowling's creation that she did under the pseudonym Robert Galbraith. Oh, right. And he's just the most wonderful character. I absolutely adore him. I have tried to write crime with, you know, considering our background, but no chance. So
I've got some stories for you. I'll expand that one for you.
I'll need wine. I'm going to need wine. I do have my book that I've written. At the moment, it's called Amber, and it's about it's kind of set now, but with a very sort of oldie-worldy feel. So that is, I've used quite a lot of her in short stories throughout the last 5 years. I just need to sit my bottom on a chair and write it. So that is, I promised myself before I'm 50 in 2024 that book will be finished. And I think other things now are just kind of, you know, I want a great big pink chair for my hallway. I've got a nice big hallway, so that's my next purchase. We're flying off to Malta in May for a week, which again I have paid for with my own hands. And that's a nice feeling. And you know, so there's some big plans with my friend in Canada. We're going to go and see her hopefully next year. Brilliant. So there's a few things in the part, and I think that having this autonomy and having this independent mind now, and I'm more focused, and I can only really say I feel like I've kind of inhabiting my space for the first time, probably since I was a teenager. Now that sounds ridiculous.
No, not at all. It doesn't. No.
Well, after having Erin, I got divorced 2 years after having my daughter Erin, and her dad was anyway, moving on, and had 8 months of counselling, and it was at that counselling that I started on self-awareness and self-development. But I was 29, 30. I'm now 47, and I still feel that there's lots of improvements to how I analyse, how I reflect, how I think. But yoga has become a really big part. I'm not very good at it, and I don't do it often enough. I forget as well. I get into bed at 10:30 at night and think, oh, I haven't done my yoga. So I don't know how I forget, but last night I actually got back out of bed at 10:30 at night and went and did 25 minutes of yoga with Adrienne, and got back into bed about 11:10 after doing 10 minutes of nice meditating, and thought, oh, why don't I do this every day? Yeah. But I'm, so that is very annoying. But I do think that what I just said then about inhabiting my own space and knowing my own mind and not being prepared to put up with the BS anymore. Okay, don't get me wrong, the HRT is going to affect my tolerance, because that's never been great anyway, but I'm even more intolerant than I used to be. I do inhabit that space a little better now. I feel more comfortable in my skin. I don't really mind a little bit of extra weight around my middle. I'm okay with it, it's fine. Yeah, we're becoming friends. We're becoming friends. My husband made a comment about my short hair recently and said that I really miss your long hair, and I replied with that, I really miss my 26-inch waist. So we've agreed to kind of, stay on the same page with the short hair and just let me be. But yeah.
I think your hair looks great short, to be honest.
I love it short. Yeah, it's all, really so much easier.
Yeah. No, do you know what? So good for you, because when you re-inhabit yourself and rediscover yourself, or even discover yourself if you've never really known who you are, it just takes into a whole new sphere, I think. And
I think as a parent, it's even worse, because I'm watching my daughter, and I didn't know who I was at 21. I was married at 23, and I think to myself, gosh, we're very much programmed to, with Disney films, we get married and there's a prince, and it's all so exciting, and it's just, for some, they're not the right way, and we're not given, I'm not a massive fan of the word empowerment, but we're not given the tools as women to develop our own person, to know who we are, what makes us tick, we want, that wonderful film with Julia Roberts, where she doesn't even know what eggs she likes. If you're with somebody and you just cook for them, you eat what they're eating, and it comes down to
Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes, that one. But also she did the Runaway Bride was the other one.
Oh, okay.
I love Eat, Pray, but it's having that moment when you think to yourself, what do I want? Who am I? And I'm trying to not lecture my daughter, but we're trying to have those conversations when I'm saying, you do not need a boyfriend, girlfriend to make you feel complete. You do not need, we need to get you right, and then you'll be ready to be the best possible person you can stepping into your future. And I don't want to lecture her, and I don't want to, tap her head. She'll live her own life, and I will pick her up whatever happens. But I just feel that we miss a beat with our kids when they're little. Education doesn't fill that gap. They're too busy doing English and maths. It's a massive void. No financials, no practicals.
Yeah.
Not enough sport. Anyway.
No,
I won't get on my soapbox with that, because I will not
get off it. Excellent. So no, it's been really great hearing about your journey, past and like where you are now, and looking forward to seeing what Words by Red Kite brings in the future. So where can we get in contact with you, Donna, to learn more about your work and how people can buy from you? Where can people get in contact with you?
Okay, I have my own website, wordsbyredkite.co.uk, and also if you wanted to email me, give me a shout at donna@wordsbyredkite.co.uk. I'm normally on LinkedIn, and I'm not a big Facebook fan. Don't know why. LinkedIn is normally my gig. I'm a bit lazy with my blogs because I'm writing for the people, but I do need to get that sorted out. But yeah, if you want to know a little bit more about me, head to the website, Words by Red Kite, and you can have a little see how I've got here, where I am.
That's fantastic. So we'll have those in the show notes as well. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much for sharing your story and your journey with us, Donna. And I really look forward to learning more about you and seeing more of your work going forward. And obviously remember that you don't need to be all guns a-blazing all over social 24/7 to be successful in business.
Yeah.
It's just understanding what your aim is and what your goals are, and just having a real clear set of systems and process to get there. So well done, and thank you very much once again, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.